for you guys that are like doing jiu-jitsu, right? So like one of the things that like comes up a lot, like people say, how do I develop my style, right? Everyone wants to, because you know, obviously you watch it from me, right? Everybody's style, you probably close your eyes and roll some of the guys and like instantly tell who you're rolling with based on like what they're doing, right? Oh, it's butterfly style. Him, you know, that kind of shit. So what'll end up happening is you guys have to be good like remixers. Like everybody wants to be original, they want to do their own thing, but really what we're doing is like art is steel. You just like, I mean, we're a bunch of thieves, right? We're gonna try to take that technique, we're gonna try to replicate it and do it just like that coach did. And eventually, someday down the road, if we get really good with it, it starts to take on a different style based on our anatomy, our style, everything else, right? So with that said, a lot of the techniques that you do early on, it's just gonna be the same stuff that we've been doing. But what ends up happening is you find like different ways to use the technique and combine things together. And I've read it before that like genius is finding like things that already exist and then finding ways to connect them, right? Like you think of like Steve Jobs took a phone, right? But it really was just an iPod with a cell phone. Now we got the iPhone. Brand new, right? The same stuff, technology already exists. So for me, I was running into the situation where again, I would get this grip here, I would be stacking, and a lot of guys would get really good at this turtle. They'd roll back right here. And then from there, it was like there was this moment right here. And then for whatever reason, it just started to click that when they started to shoot in, and then go for that. And again, there's a lot of stuff that we can do from it, but it's a simple move. I mean, it maybe looks kind of like you're sliding, but it's just a timing thing, okay? And then from there, we can go for the same thing. Now, let me go over a couple of things about this position real fast. Again, make sure you guys pinch the knee tight, very important for your knees. Also important for the control. If we get loose, and you happen to go get someone that knows, keep your leg there, and you go get someone that knows this position, they can start to shift their hips, and they can do what's called flipping it on you. And they'll start to do this. So it's very important that once you get here, we have the knees tight and we're controlling the hip, okay? Now, think about this way. Like, how many of you guys play this position with any real life regularity? Okay, that's the idea, right? So not a lot of people do it, so not as many people have the muscle memory developed for it. So like everybody has muscle memory for the seatbelt and everything else. Not that it's not a good thing to do, it's a great thing to do. This is just another way to get there, right? So I'm stomping the back. Now, really important, don't worry about the choke yet, okay? Or the overhook. Worry about coming up and grabbing this front delt. The reason why this is so important, if I sit up and come up, he can roll away from me, okay? If I get this front delt, I can stay with him. Even if he starts to roll, I can stay with him because, again, probably the most important part about the upper back control is what? The chest to back connection. So this front grip allows me to have that, okay? And then again, when you guys are going, just to reiterate what we did, real quick. Once you've got that front delt here, you want to get that grip here as early as possible, right? But we don't want to get weak with it. Think about it right now. This situation that's going on, if we're here, and we're used to the position before submission idea. So he's thinking position. He doesn't want to get this hook. So a lot guys get really focused on the hook. They're not as focused on the neck all the time. I don't want to bring his arm in yet because if I bring it in here and it's shallow, as soon as he touches his neck, he's going to know. Oh, he's going for a choke. His chin tucks, he goes into defensive mode, much tougher to choke. But a lot of times, coming up here, while he's still thinking hooks, if I get my body up first, now I'm right where I need to be. If I shoot right underneath, that neck becomes open. And again, a lot of times while they're still thinking about the hook, you've got an attack on the neck. So just a couple details on that, but let's add the passage to it. So here's what I need from you guys to do from the person on the bottom. Okay, again, it's a specific response. Just like you guys do with anything, you start to do a technique, you'll start to have like a handful of responses that tend to happen. This is one of them that will happen a lot for me with people that play guard. They'll push off of this hamstring and they'll go off. So when we go, we can go deep into like how to set this up, but for right now we're gonna keep it simple. First up, real quick, how many of you guys know a stack pass of some sort? All right, everybody, right? Perfect. Like Jiu-Jitsu 101. All right, so our hand goes across. I'm gonna be specific with this. I'm grabbing with a thumb in grip, not the forefinger. A lot of times we'll grab the forefinger, great grip. I'm going thumb in and I'm pulling in tight against the hip here. It doesn't need to be this deep, right? Just around the stomach here, locking onto the hip. This hand is gonna be grabbing the hip on this side, okay? Now what I'm starting to do is I'm gonna be starting to stack this person up. Come back down for me just for a second. And I'm gonna be stacking this person up. Now, I can be really heavy with this, but for right now, just for the drill, you can kind of loosen up just a bit. Now, what I'm feeling for it, a lot of times techniques have a physical cue. feeling that you'll start to notice that, oh, that's it, that's my time to go. This one in particular, you'll feel a push off of that hamstring. So I'm here, he extends his hamstring to make space so he can roll. That's your cue to start to initiate your move, if you want to know what the timing is, right? So as soon as I feel that, I help him go up, because I don't need to have the connection. Now, we're getting into the position, take the knee now, and we shoot in. And again, what are we trying to get to? Low back. I'm not worried about the leg, it's the low back to stomach. The leg will be there, okay? Or I can use this hand to get in. And from here we get tight, and we can go back into it, okay? So, one more time. So again, we're in our stack pass position. We get across. Okay. We begin to stack. I typically stack off at an angle, because if I'm straight here, they'll start reaching into my collar and stuff. So a lot of times I'll kind of go off at an angle to make it harder to do that. By the way, if my right lapel is grabbing, or my right hand's grabbing the lapel, I will place my right knee down, a lot of times right under their back like a kickstand, as I'm starting to walk them up. As soon as I feel him press up, I help him up just a little bit. I use this hand to lift him up a little bit, just so that I can get him going. And then for the person on the bottom to help your partner out, stop here. Don't go to a full turtle. You're stopping. You want to get them to help them get the timing of this right before they get to a full sunken position. Shoot the knee in, hold your stomach, and we get our position. Right? Any questions from you guys?
How do you do this, or can you do this again?
Of course, sure. Sonogi. A lot of times it's like this. I'll be down low, switch off, and grab right here. So I get this. I don't want to have that grip right in front, okay? Because if it is, you'll start to fight it, right? So a lot of times the guys get really heavy. I'll do a little sit out here, and then we start to go. As he starts to push, same idea. If I have a technique, I love jiu-jitsu. Gi-no-gi doesn't matter. But nothing that I do is too gi specific. Because I never want to be like, man, I've got a great lasso guard. And then I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing in no-gi. And we all, like, back when I first started, everybody got into it because we wanted to fight. So it was like, we had to learn how to do it. So anything I got, there's no-gi variations. If I show anything to you, if you want to know how to do no-gi, I'll have something for it. Any other questions? Okay, so bottom person.